Welcome back, everyone, to Find Music. All these weeks roll by, and we're so happy that they do because we can find more music. So we turn to our fearless first man for more music. It's Fred, episode 745. Go ahead, Fred.
Well, I'm turning to a couple of guitarists that I've always enjoyed, and every recording they put out, they just blow me away. Bill Frisell has over 100 albums out, and he's explored almost every genre of music you can think of. And his new album is called In My Dreams, and he's worked in the past with dream work and this time around, he has a trio of bass and drums, but he adds also cello, viola, and violin, and it features another favorite artist of mine, Jenny Scheinman, on violin. She's a famous violinist in her own right and has a number of albums out. She does the same thing that Frisell does, explores different types of music, goes from jazz to Americana, and
Is
it's,
is he the guitarist on the John Zorn albums?
yes, on
Okay,
Scott
he's
Dorn
The
as
guy, that's
incredible.
the guy. Yeah.
He's
so.
great. Oh my God, he's so
This
good.
album starts off with a song called Trapped in the Sky, and viola and violin started off so beautifully and in an astonishing way. It just opens up the album with beautiful chords. It's and of course he goes all over the place with his music. He does some jazz classics, he does folk, he does a kind of Americana, experimental, avant-garde guitar playing, and goes into jazz, and the players all flow right with him so beautifully, and the textures are sharp, and it's a new musical world he opens up here in his own right. I would say that the players just play beautifully with him, and they overlap each other in such a musical explorational way. They're exploring this territory all over the place, and they go deep with feeling and emotion, and it's perfection, just beautifully done. It's almost like the music's reflecting back at you. It's spontaneous, it's spacious, and once more, Bill Frisell's guitar playing is just top notch. He's at the top of his game. Another famous guitarist who's got, I lost count of how many albums he has out, Pat Metheny. He's got a group called Side Eyed that he recorded an album in 2021 with them, a trio. And this is called Side Eyed 3 Plus because he adds, besides the bass, keyboards, and the drums, he adds uh, a vocal ensemble, and he adds other musicians like a percussionist and a harpist to this whole melting pot. And he plays guitar and guitar synthesizer through this. This sound of this with the wordless vocals goes back to the 80s, like one of his most famous albums, Letters from Home. This has that kind of feel to it. It starts out with In on It, and that song sets the pace. That tune sets the pace for the whole album. It's dynamic and dazzling playing. It's he uses Chris Fishman on organ and keyboards and synthesizers, and Dyson on drums. Now, Fishman takes the place, of course, of Lyle Mays, and he plays in his own right. He comes out with his own sound, and he this opens up the music just in an incredible way. The musicians that added on add a texture, new texture to the group, and the wordless vocals come up in different ways. At one time, it comes up in one of the songs as almost like a gospel choir, wordless gospel choir. The voices just float up in the air over the music. They almost become its own instrument along with the other players. And there's an organ trio starts out urban and Western, and then it opens up into a full blast number. It's just amazing, and his guitar playing is as great as it's ever been. And he doesn't rest on his laurels. He doesn't rest on his reputation. Like Bill Frisell, he explores and goes into deep musical vocabulary. Then I discovered this jazz fusion album that came out in December of 24. It's called Changes. Steve Hunt and Tim Miller. They've gotten together, and it's Hunt on keyboards and synthesizers, and Moog and Miller on guitar. And almost all the reviewers, which is interesting, compare the guitarist Miller to Alan Holdsworth. And it turns out that Steve Hunt was in Holdsworth touring band. So he uses the drummer and bass player also that played with Holdsworth on this album. So it's got that kind of feel in the guitar, and they the compositions just show off their playing amazingly. The album starts out with Fallen, and it opens up the album and introduces you to a jazz fusion sound that feels like you've heard it before, but it's something new at the same time. And that's what grabbed my attention. And they play so well, and the notes and the compositions just show off their talent. And a lot of times the guitar playing does show that Alan Holdsworth influence. So since I liked Holdsworth, I definitely like this album, and I would suggest checking it out.
Gallery is speechless.
You,
Hey, I saw Pat Metheny once live.
Bruce brought him up.
Yeah,
Found him
I saw
digging.
him. I saw him several times live
Who's
because
this?
it was Pat Metheny.
Pat
Oh,
Metheny, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
The last two albums were solo albums. This is the first ensemble he's put together in a number of years, and he formed his own label with this album.
yeah. He almost, if you don't listen very carefully, he almost seems easy listening. But if you listen very carefully, you're
Yeah,
like, this
very
is not easy
interesting.
listening. This is challenging. So he plays both sides in a very interesting way.
Well put. Well put. Okay, the adventures continue. You're on Fun Music.